Good afternoon. Toronto continues to swelter under a heat wave with a yellow heat warning still in place.
Today is expected to be the hottest day of the week with the potential to set a temperature record. CTV's John Musselman has been speaking with people trying to beat the heat and joins us live from Sunnyside Beach. John, a cool place to be.
Yeah. Well, Nathan, I got to tell you, there's a beautiful breeze coming off the lake, which is really helping. But just by the minute, it's getting warmer and warmer out here. So we've been talking to a lot of people about how they're dealing with this heat. We'll show you some video this morning. We'll start with the CTV helicopter. You can see the haze and humidity it's building over the city. It's very thick. It's very hot, and we're expecting this to get worse as we go through the day. Down here at Sunnyside Beach, we found people in the lake swimming, some people just sort of walking in the water, others were doing laps. Everybody seems to be heading towards the water, either paddle boats, swimming, any way to cool off, finding a tree to sit under to get some shade. There are other people just walking on the boardwalk, but they're going very slow. They're taking it easy. They're trying to enjoy this sunshine, but not overexert themselves. You have to have a lot of water. We've been down here just a couple of hours, and we're really noticing the difference. We had a chance to speak to some people as well as a medical professional about today. Here's what everyone had to tell us.
Just insane. That's why I'm here so early. I'm gonna just spend the day, I think, inside with my daughter with the air conditioning, and maybe go outside in the backyard and sit in the shade for like a few minutes just so she can play. Yeah. But overall, it's insane. I didn't know it was record breaking.
It's been kind of rough, you know. It's climate change, so there's a lot of that. And but staying cool, staying hydrated. I worry about the unhoused people.
Love it.
Why?
It's I'm visiting from Nova Scotia, and I always spend the days at the beach, and this is a good reason to come down here.
It's better than the really bad days in the winter when it's well below zero and blowing.
We have something called the Heat Relief Network, which is searchable on the web. We have over 500 locations that offer cooling, whether that's air conditioning or a pool or something else. There are water trailers available at 4 different city locations, and we have a 24/7 overnight space for people experiencing homelessness, as well as the city has opened up over 100 additional temporary sites for people that need to use the shelter system.
And Nathan, Michelle, we're just east of Sunnyside Pool. It's already busy. We're going to go back and get some more video of people just trying to cool off in the pool. Again, it's going to be very hot today. The city is offering extended pool hours. People are just being advised to stay hydrated while we deal with this heat. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
All right, good advice. Thank you, John. And let's talk more about the forecast as we take a look at the city through that beautiful shot of the skyline there. It is cooler by the water, but as John was saying, temperatures are rising. So no matter where you are today, you need to be careful and take all of necessary steps and preventions to stay cool and stay safe. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at how things are now. Lindsay.
Well, Nathan, we've had a few hot days so far this summer, but this one could take the cake. Not only are we at this rate expected to smash the daily temperature record for July 14th, we could also break the all-time temperature record at Pearson Airport. So all eyes on that weather station today, where it is already 32 degrees, feeling more like 41. As John mentioned, you will find a little bit of relief down by the water. For example, the temperature right now on the Toronto Island is 26 degrees, feeling more like 35. That humidity is with us all day long. It's likely to feel like 46 at the height of the afternoon. So no surprise, this heat warning remains in effect. It will be in place for the next couple of days. Another factor today, the winds directly out of the west. It's going to be a very blustery day today, although it is worth mentioning that while you might find some relief with those wind gusts, in other areas you won't, especially inland away from the shoreline of Lake Ontario and the other Great Lakes. There's the satellite and radar. It is wall-to-wall sunshine today. In fact, we are at a 9 on the UV index. Some communities are all the way at a 10, which of course is very high. And for anyone heading to FIFA Fan Fest today, it is going to be a scorcher. Just a reminder that our forecast daytime high today is 38 degrees, and it's going to feel into the mid and upper 40s in places. So lots to talk about in your weather forecast coming up. But for now, Michelle, going to send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, speaking of those watch parties, fans due to gather across the city this afternoon to take part and take in the game.
France and Spain are set to face off in the tournament's first semi-final match. And CTV's Rahim Ladhani joins us from Nathan Phillips Square with more on how fans are preparing to take in the big game, and hopefully they're considering the forecast as well, Rahim.
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, the forecast is going to play a huge part, not only in the crowd that comes down here, but how they stay cool. And we'll chat about that in just a few minutes. I can tell you that it's not going to be long before a lot of soccer fans make their way down here to Nathan Phillips Square to take in this France-Spain semifinal. Just over my right shoulder, there are a lot of fans on the pitch already. Soccer fans from day camps, tourists kicking the ball around on those temporary pitches. And that's what we've been talking about throughout this World Cup, is that it's more about than the score on the scoreboard. It's about the atmosphere, and that's a great atmosphere down here right now here at Nathan Phillips Square. If you're a fan of France, today's an extra special day, right? Because it's a national holiday. Today's actually Bastille Day. It's celebrated every July 14th, marking the storming of the Bastille in 1789. And earlier today, the France-Canada Chamber of Commerce unveiled some special signage over Bloor Street today to commemorate the day. And so it's a national holiday in France, but even if you're French in Toronto, you know you're going to be taking the day off likely to watch the game here, because it is a huge match between two powerhouses. France ranked number 1, Spain ranked number 2. France has been in the World Cup final for the last 2 tournaments. They're looking to make it a three-peat. Then you take it to Spain. Spain haven't been in the World Cup final since 2010 when they won the whole thing. And so they too are starving for glory. And you have 2 absolute superstars, Kylian Mbappe for France and Lian Lamine for Spain. I mean, it's going to, Yamil Lamine, he's 19 years old. It's going to be an incredible match. I mentioned the fans. We ran into some French fans here at Nathan Phillips Square. They told us who they think is going to win, France, obviously. But I also asked them what they think about the city of Toronto during their visit. Have a listen.
France will win 3-1. Toronto, it's a nice city, big city, very clean.
All right, so Nathan, off the top, you asked me about how fans will be taking it in safely. Straight ahead to me, we have a drinking fountain, one of the mobile trailers that the city has set up. Anybody can come down here and grab a glass of water or fill up your water bottle. Now, behind me, this giant red inflatable, that's a misting machine. And so the city is setting that up right now. So when you come down here, you can walk through it, cool yourself off. And that's what this is all about, right? We know there is going to be a huge turnout to watch this match, but the city wants to make sure that people are doing it safely. And so they have set up the misting station, water stations. We're told that even at FIFA Fan Fest, there will be first responders on scene to make sure, just as a precaution. And so there are a lot of ways for people to watch, take the match in safely. And then, of course, City Hall is open, so you can also come in there and then take a break from the heat and enjoy some air conditioning. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladhani. I'll send it back over to you.
All right, great ideas. Good to know. Thank you, Rahim. Still to come, the latest on the war in the Middle East. We'll have an update on the battle over the Strait of Hormuz as the global shipping route remains at the center of the war between the U.S. and Iran. Those details a little later in the newscast.
Police are searching for suspects following a shooting in Scarborough. Officers called to the Blackwell Avenue and Tapscott Road area just after 2:30 this morning. A short time later, a man showed up at a hospital with gunshot wounds. Police say his injuries are not life-threatening. Investigators have not provided details on possible suspects, and they're asking anyone who might have information to come forward.
One of the producers of the Salsa on St. Clair Festival says it'll be pulling out of future editions of the event if city officials don't enhance security. A statement from TLN Media Group reads in part, Saturday night's horrific shootings destroyed a joyous, safe, family-friendly celebration of Latino culture that has run annually since 2005. We are thankful for the quick and overwhelming response to the shootings by Toronto police. The statement goes on to read, TLN will discontinue its involvement unless city officials provide concrete commitments to enhance policing and security on and around St. Clair Avenue. It says, we refuse to subject any of our people, friends, clients, and community supporters to situations where public officials responsible for preventing crime and ensuring public safety resist the community's calls to do better. The statement also criticizes Deputy Chief Frank Burrito for what it says, or what they call normalizing such shootings. Here's what Burrito said to reporters hours after the shooting.
Toronto is one of the safest cities in the world. I'm sure the mayor would agree with me, and our councillors of the city would agree. But we are 3 million people, and unfortunately, we are not completely immune to some of the things that happen globally, quite frankly. But Toronto is an extremely safe city, and we're very blessed with the first responders that we have, the police, the fire, and the paramedics that handle this, and that plan this, and that deal with the aftermath of this. So while it's tragic and it's very concerning, we have very talented and trained people dealing with it right now.
Meanwhile, TLN praised remarks from Councillor Mike Cole, who insisted officials must do everything they can to prevent similar shootings. Now, here's what Cole said on Saturday.
We just want to say how disgusting this is, this gangster violence in a peaceful family festival. We had this for 15 years, no problems, and to shoot up a festival indiscriminately, these thugs must be caught, no bail, put them away for 20 years. This threatens all of our public events. This has got to stop.
And CTV's Scott Hurst has been following the investigation into the shooting and joins us live with more. So, Scott, police did identify the victims of the shooting yesterday. What was the reaction from family and friends?
Nathan, as you can imagine and appreciate, that those who knew these two young men, family members and loved ones, are of course grieving their loss, and those in the community are still shocked and outraged at the violence that erupted Saturday night as dozens of people showed up at a vigil last night being held at a church just blocks away from where the deadly violence erupted on Saturday evening. Police have identified the two men killed as 25-year-old Shaquan Kwashi and 20-year-old Cesar Vernazza. Police are saying they believe these two men were likely targeted. However, at this point, no arrests have been made, so a hunt is still on for those who are responsible for the death of these two young men. Now, people along St. Clair, the community where the shooting erupted, are also outraged and traumatized. And as you pointed out and mentioned, that those behind the festival are even questioning whether it might even be able to return, critical of the response by Toronto's mayor and deputy police chief, saying unless more is done and stronger commitments to enhance policing and security, it may not return. Now, this devastating incident and the very public display of violence as a whole is shining a spotlight on public safety at festivals and large events, not just here in Toronto, but of course we know these Toronto street festivals are really a marquee of summer events right across the city, not just for those of us who live here, but for visitors who like to come in and enjoy them as well. So it's really shining a spotlight on what more needs to be done to protect people going to these open-air public street festivals that we all like to enjoy around the city, but not just here in the city, Nathan, right around the country as well.
Right, we do love these events and festivals, but we also want them to be safe. The police chief also spoke, and he gave some ideas on ways to prevent this type of violence. What was he proposing?
The shooting, as I mentioned, is not just shining a spotlight and raising the concern and raising alarm bells about what more needs to be done to help protect people at these large events and crowd control. It's also renewing a national debate over illegal guns. The federal Conservatives are blaming gun violence on the Liberal government and years of lax sentencing, arguing repeat offenders, especially those who commit gun violence, should face tougher punishment. The Liberals are arguing that they've made dozens of changes to tighten bail and sentencing for repeat offenders. But as you mentioned, Toronto's police chief also echoing the call for tougher new laws, saying when someone is killed in such a public setting, whether it's a stray bullet or whether they were in fact targeted, he feels it should be classified as first-degree murder. Meanwhile, there are more calls for more to be done to stem the flow of guns across the border, to stop firearms from being smuggled into Canada. Statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms and Tobacco show that nearly half of all guns seized in Canada, Nathan, are from the United States.
All right, CTV's Scott Hurst in the CTV National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well, Toronto mayoral candidate Brad Bradford is also criticizing the response from City Hall to the shooting.
Right response from leadership is not to come out and cite statistics. The right response isn't to say this was a difficult weekend. The right response is to say no. No more. Not now, not ever. The right response is to say, as mayor, I will make whatever changes are necessary, whatever changes are required.
Bradford says if he is elected mayor, he'll sit on the Toronto Police Services Board. Mayor Olivia Chow is not currently a member of the board. Police have released an image of a vehicle wanted in connection with a hit and run in Milton last month. Now, they're searching for the driver of this gray Toyota Tacoma pickup. On June 24th, a motorcycle was in the intersection of Regional Road 25 and Etheridge Avenue and was struck by the truck making a left turn. Now, police say the driver didn't stop immediately and then sped away from the scene. The rider of the motorcycle suffered serious injuries. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them.
Bonnie Crombie is officially registered to join the race to become Mississauga's next mayor.
Crombie previously held the position from 2014 to 2024. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman joins us live from Mississauga with more on Crombie joining the race. And Beatrice, I mean, at the very least, this has gotten very interesting.
It's certainly become a very, very interesting race here in the municipality of Mississauga. I mean, as you know, former Toronto Mayor John Tory put it, he said it's good for democracy to give the residents of this city an opportunity to decide. But it seems what's old is new again here in Mississauga. The woman who was mayor for 10 years, from 2014 to 2024, before leaving to seek a provincial office. Certainly she wanted the premier's job. That didn't work out for her, as I pointed out during our press conference. And now she's coming back to ask the residents of Mississauga for another chance. She says that she realized that Mississauga is where she wants to be and that she actually went to Queen's Park in order to be a voice for Mississauga. Here's a bit of what we heard from Bonnie Crombie, who just before talking to media filed her papers to put her name that effectively on the ballot in October's municipal race. Listen.
Yes, I left to fight for Mississauga at Queen's Park, and I lost. But what I learned is that everything I care about is right here. So today I'm asking for this job to be mayor of Mississauga, and I'm staying, and I will see it through. This is the job that I chose over any other, and I'm going to complete it, and I have something to prove.
Yeah. How's it going? It's hot, eh?
All right, Alvin Tedjo, who's also running for Mississauga's top job, joining me now. Let's get your reaction, firstly, to your former, I guess, boss at Mississauga. The voters are your boss, but you're the mayor that you served under as a councillor, now joining this race. What does that mean for you, Alvin?
I mean, I think residents can't afford more of the same. I think they have seen over the last 4 years, whether it was Bonnie Crombie or Carolyn Parish, property taxes have gone up 30% in the last 4 years, and life is becoming increasingly more unaffordable. I think now that the former mayor is back running against the existing mayor, like, we have more options if we want more of the same. So I think people are looking for change, and I think that's what we're presenting to them.
Yeah, you came in second to Parish in the 2024 by-election. What do you say to voters? I mean, why they should be voting for Alvin Tedjo, despite the fact that they've got these two really high-profile candidates now?
Sure. I mean, we did as well as we did in the last election because people were really excited about our vision for the city. They want to see more for the city of Mississauga. They want to see us have an ambition, have a vision that gives people the option for real affordable living in this city, making sure that we can build more homes, keep the community safe, get more business going in this city. And they want to see new leadership do that. And, we've seen, based on the results, that people were attracted to that. And that's why we were able to do so well in the last election.
Is it frustrating for you at all, Alvin, to have Bonnie Crombie join the race again?
Listen, it's democracy. Everyone's welcome to run. We want to see a robust debate. If anything, we're getting more attention to the race, and I think that's good for democracy. We want people engaged in civic issues. Only 25% of people voted in the last election, so if this brings more attention to it, great. But I think people need to know that they have two options. If they want more of the same, or if they want fresh new leadership, they can vote for us.
Bonnie said in her press conference she's the most fiscally responsible candidate who's now going to be on the ballot. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I doubt that very much. I mean, we were the only ones that talked about freezing property taxes in the last by-election. We have a plan to do it again. We know we can be way, way more fiscally responsible with the city's tax dollars. In the last 10 years, we saw how much property taxes went up under Bonnie Crombie, as well as Carolyn Parish. So, yeah, I doubt that very much.
Just to be clear, you're not dropping out of the race?
100%. I'm in here until Election Day on October 26th.
All right, Alvin Tedjo, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. So, it's going to be a very interesting election, as I pointed out, certainly during our press conference. No love lost between Bonnie Crombie and the incumbent, Carolyn Parish, and, of course, the name, Hazelman. McCallion. Obviously, she passed away several years ago. She's not here to provide her endorsement this time around, but her son, Peter McCallion, has now become a forceful opponent of Bonnie Crombie's, as has Premier Ford, saying he's going to send in an army to support Carolyn Paris. So a really, really interesting race to watch here in Mississauga. Michelle.
Beatrice Vaisman setting the stage for us in Mississauga. Thank you. Former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard was found guilty of sex-related crimes in Montreal yesterday.
As CTV's Matt Grillo explains, the 84-year-old was set to stand trial, but instead accepted a plea deal.
Monday was supposed to be the first day of Peter Nygaard's trial on charges of sexual assault and confinement. Nygaard's lawyer did not present any evidence in his defense. The judge then found him guilty on both counts.
A declaration of guilt is always a victory.
The prosecution explained the assault took place in the late 90s in Nygaard's penthouse in Montreal. The victim was 18 years old at the time, an aspiring model who met with Nygaard to discuss work opportunities. Nygaard once led a women's fashion empire. He was previously convicted in Toronto of sexual assault and sentenced to 11 years in prison in 2023. He has not been given a sentence in this Montreal case.
I can tell you that I presented the Crown with some significant evidence last week that would have undermined their case significantly, and that the sentence will reflect that.
There are no perfect cases. I was ready to proceed, which means that I was convinced that I was able to obtain a conviction in this file.
Nygaard is facing extradition to the U.S. on similar charges. His lawyer says Nygaard is dealing with health issues.
I'm hopeful to make contact with the authorities in the United States and to discuss the viability of their prosecution and to see if they actually do intend to extradite Mr. Nygaard or what their intentions are with him.
Nygaard's lawyer says her client is eligible for parole later this year. The next hearing in the Montreal matter is set for October 2nd. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
The Assembly of First Nations has begun its annual general meeting in Ottawa. Things kicked off with a speech by National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Nepinak.
Well, the funding won't close the gaps. We talk to the chiefs all the time that will put those resources to work. In the spring, we traveled to Saskatchewan to be with Chief Wesley, the leadership, the elders, and the community members. We have offered them and the community of evacuees our full support. So it's disappointing that this new bill fails to clearly designate First Nations rights to clean water, because no sum of money will distract from the red flags we see in this new clean water bill. Sadly, it represents a step back from the progress that was made with Parliament in 2024.
More than 50 separate resolutions are expected to be reviewed during the meeting. They include the First Nations Clean Water Act, which includes a $4.6 billion investment, as well as the State of First Nations Child Welfare, and calls for the Vatican to rescind a series of papal decrees. Now, the meeting runs from today until the 16th.
Turning to the war in the Middle East, the U.S. has carried out a third night of airstrikes against Iran. The U.S. military says its latest strikes are aimed at preventing Iran from attacking commercial ships. It comes as Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it struck 2 tankers from the United Arab Emirates in the Strait of Hormuz. American military bases in Jordan and Bahrain were also targeted. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has been following the impact of the war on global oil markets. She joins us live now from Ottawa with the latest. Annie, U.S. President Trump indicating he wanted to collect a fee from ships traveling through the Strait, but has since backed off on that plan. Let's talk about the impact on the pumps globally.
Hi, Michelle. Well, it's definitely been a bit of a whirlwind of the last 24 hours. Yesterday, the U.S. president, as you mentioned, said that he was going to impose a 20% levy on all cargo ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. He called this a security fee, basically a reimbursement for having ships from the U.S. Navy in the Strait as protection for these vessels. And that alone caused the cost of crude oil on the markets to go up and futures to go up as well. And analysts to say that come Wednesday, we were going to see higher gasoline prices at the pumps across Canada and the United States. I saw one estimate that said that that 20% fee on cargo ships, had it been implemented in the U.S. anyway, would have cost 37 cents extra per gallon. Well, now, fast forward to today, the U.S. president just came out and said, no, he's actually going to scrap this 20% tariff or levy. And instead, what the Gulf states have agreed to do is make massive investments in the United States economy. So it appears that is no longer going to be the case. However, it does seem like the U.S. is going to continue moving forward with a blockade on Iranian ports, which is expected to take effect starting around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So all of this, what it's really doing is just increasing price pressure on gasoline. This all comes down to supply and demand. Over the last few months, there's been so much uncertainty, and markets don't really like uncertainty. And what we have seen happening is prices going up and prices coming down. But ultimately, what's really happening here is that there's just not as many ships that are able to get through the Strait of Hormuz. That passageway is not as open as it once was. And so because of this uncertainty, a lot of ships are taking other routes that take a lot longer, or they're still sort of stuck, essentially grounded, unable to go through the Strait of Hormuz. And what this means is that there still is the same demand for crude oil and for LNG. Before the war started, about a fifth of the world's crude oil did go through the Strait of Hormuz. And so really what this is doing is that there is still a demand, but there's not as much supply. A lot of countries around the world are going through their reserves of oil right now. And so this is just pushing up the prices. And even, the news yesterday and today, we're seeing that the crude prices are at a 1-month high now. And so what does this mean moving forward? Again, it just puts a lot more uncertainty, but a lot of experts are saying to expect to still see higher crude oil prices, and in turn that means gasoline prices. They say you're probably not going to see a drop at the pumps anytime soon because of the war and because of all of this uncertainty that's going on with the ceasefire and whether or not this strait will remain open or whether it's going to close, Michelle.
Uncertainty, but certainty will be probably paying more. CTV's Annie Bergeron Oliver live for us in Ottawa. Appreciate you breaking this down for us.
Thank you.
Stats Canada says the number of Canadians traveling to the U.S. remains well below levels seen in June of 2024. The agency released preliminary figures showing the number of Canadians making return trips from the U.S. was up for a third straight month in June, rising by 3.2% to 1.7 million. Stats Can says the rise was driven by a 5.2% boost in the number of car visits south of the border, while return trips by air fell 3.8%. The numbers represent a 29% drop compared to 2 years ago.
Today is France's biggest holiday, and it used the occasion to show Russia and the U.S. that Europe is united and stepping up to defend itself. A massive Bastille Day parade in Paris showcased support for Ukraine and symbolically flexed European military muscle. This year's event included troops and warplanes from across the continent and from Ukraine, which received the biggest cheers of the day as the Ukrainian president looked on. Bastille Day commemorates the start of the French Revolution.
In the Philippines, a volcano has now been erupting for 190 consecutive days. Explosive bursts of lava and rocks can be seen coming from the crater of the volcano. Officials say it has produced lava flows, currents, and rock falls. A level 3 alert remains in effect, which bars entry into the 6-kilometer danger zone. The alert has been in place since January and indicates heightened volcanic unrest with magma close to the crater. The volcano is being monitored around the clock.
Well, today is the peak of the heat in this latest wave of hot weather, but it is a scorcher. Let me remind you of the fact that this afternoon we are forecasting a daytime high of 38 degrees, feeling more like 46. Now, will we break some temperature records today? It is likely. The daily record for today is 36.8 degrees, so we're forecasting a temperature higher than that. The all-time record at Pearson Airport is 38.3. That was set all the way back in the year 1948, and we could rival that today. Yesterday, records were broken across northern Ontario, including Armstrong, where the temperature hit 40 degrees. Stay with us. We'll give you an idea of how long this heat wave is going to last after the break here on CTV News at noon.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
All right, to the forecast, and we love to say, summer's short, it's summer short. But when the heat is like this so early in the summer, it feels long. Maybe we should say that. Summers are long.
We can pretend that. I feel like we're into the third week. Is it the third week of July? I mean, it's been a few weeks for the kids being off of school, and it just has flown by. And Although the good news is we are getting quite a bit of summer heat today.
Yeah.
Hottest day, hands down. I think you're going to feel it no matter what you're doing.
Today could be one for the books, too, the record books. And I think I know what you mean, Nathan. Like when we can get the heat a little bit earlier in the season, that's good. We've experienced it. We're not waiting for it. Certainly not waiting for any heat today. It is here. It has arrived. And it's only going to get hotter as this afternoon progresses. Could break a couple of temperature records. And it looks like even though the next couple of days will be cooler by comparison, it's still going to be hot. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. So let's take another look outside the window. This view from Hotel X. That, of course, is Toronto Stadium. World Cup games are finished here, but there is a big game happening today. The semis, and you can bet watch parties, as we mentioned off the top of the show, going to be busy and going to be hot this afternoon. So if you do have to spend some time outside today, these are some reminders of things you should be doing to keep yourself not only cool, but safe in conditions like this. Drink plenty of water, wear loose, light-fitting clothing, and visit cool places, especially if you don't have access to air conditioning. A day like today can be excruciating. And it's not just the daytime temperature. Wait until you see our forecast overnight low for tonight. Heat warning, it's widespread. It is locked in place. You can expect that to be in effect for the next several days here. We've gone up another degree. It is 33 degrees this hour at Pearson Airport, feeling more like 43. Again, it's possible that we could climb another 5 degrees before this afternoon and evening is finished. Yesterday's temperature was hot as well. We made it to 33 degrees. Seasonal norm is 27. Right now, we are the hot spot of the entire province at 33.2 degrees. And I return once again to the seasonal norm because our average daytime high is pretty much what our overnight low is going to be tonight. In fact, if you're heading to a patio this evening, you will find it hot. Hopefully you can seek out some shade. And then look at that, 11 p.m., the temperature still 30 degrees, eventually falling to a low of 26. But that is not a nighttime temperature that is considered comfortable by any means. That is very hot and not great sleeping weather. Tomorrow at a glance, 32 degrees will feel more like 34. You know it's a hot day when suddenly this feels cool by comparison. But yes, the heat wave continues. Winds like today are going to be gusty. In fact, we could experience gusts this afternoon near 50 kilometers per hour. As you can see, tomorrow's temperatures settling down slightly. We're still in the 30s. We're still feeling like the mid-30s in many cases, but it's not feeling like the mid-40s, so that will be a nice change of pace. On the satellite and radar, it is another dry, sunny day. Watching this front a little bit further north because that brings us a chance of showers into the day. Tomorrow, it's not a sure thing. What's a little more likely is that we're going to increase the cloud for both Wednesday and for Thursday. Simply set the forecast radar in motion. You may have noticed a little bit of active weather out Ottawa way. But again, we remain dry through the majority of this week. A bit more of a pattern change happens in time for the weekend. So this is your 7-day forecast. Friday, we're seasonal. Below 30 degrees, it's going to feel nice, like a nice change. Watch for some nighttime showers Friday and into Saturday. And then we've got the chance of showers over the weekend. Overall conditions much more manageable. Highs of 27 degrees on Sunday and 26 for Monday. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. The Tempo return home to Toronto when they host the Washington Mystics tonight.
Now 55 seconds left in the fourth. Downhill, Salvary.
The team is coming off a 93-91 win over the New York Liberty in Montreal Sunday. That victory snapped a 4-game losing streak. Tonight's match against Washington is set for 7 at Coca-Cola Coliseum.
Baseball's biggest stars will hit the field in Philadelphia tonight for the MLB All-Star Game, but last night belonged to the sport's top sluggers.
He's not afraid.
The Cardinals' Jordan Walker topped the Phillies' Kyle Schwarber to win this year's Home Run Derby. Walker homered 12 times in the final round, topping Schwarber's total by 1. Meanwhile, Dylan Cease is due to start for the American League in tonight's All-Star Game. Ernie Clement will start at second base, while Jays closer Louis Varland will be in the bullpen. Jays manager John Schneider will serve as the bench boss for the American League squad. A Kitchener woman has become a champion in power slap, a growing combat sport.
CTV's Colton Weens has more on her unique journey to the title.
Women's flyweight
Kitchener's Ellie Belly Dempster making history in Las Vegas on Friday, becoming the first ever women's flyweight champion in power slap.
I'm so grateful about it. No, I'm still a little bit in shock.
The 29-year-old now a perfect 3-0 in her power slap career, defeating Zoe Dubois in a 5-round unanimous decision in the first ever women's title bout.
The performance was not great. But everything before it was.
How life brought her here, she never expected. Dempster grew up in the Huron area of Kitchener, roughhousing with her brother and playing sports like football and rugby. But fighting was never on the table.
I've always been in the really aggressive sports. But then fighting was only a thing once I moved to Thailand. My family's so gentle. I was working with an NGO that rescued children from sex trafficking. And I, looked at the situation. I went, if adults aren't taking care of you, how do I teach these kids to take care of themselves? And I was like, I'll teach them self-defense. And I awkwardly had to look at myself and go, I don't know self-defense.
That led to pursuing Muay Thai professionally with 12 wins, 9 knockouts, and 2 losses. Then invited to an MMA bout in the U.S., she tore her ACL but bounced back, landing in power slap. Now the only female flyweight with a knockout and a title.
Flyweight on the side. It's a hefty hecker.
Dempster also tries to shed light on charities with each bout and has raised $30,000 for an orphanage in Thailand and over $100,000 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Every time that I get on stage, I do it for a reason. I have more of an impact being a voice than I do being a teacher. So I made the decision to move to America. And
while some frown at power slap for its lack of defense, Dempster says it has strict rules and competitors train their bodies to take hits. She hopes to defend her new title while continuing her combat career.
My career's just getting started. Start hitting 30, and for guys, that's when you start dwindling down. For females, oddly enough, that's when we've got more of a pathway for us.
Once a rough and tumble Kitchener kid, now on the world stage, taking it one slap at a time. Colton Ween, CTV News, Kitchener.
All right, you're watching CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
Listen, Toronto isn't always known for being easy on the wallet. Whether you live here or you're just visiting, you figure that out pretty quickly. But what some people don't know is there's so much you can do in this city for free. So I'm here to help you explore Toronto and keep your money where you want it, which is in your wallet. Allen Gardens is the perfect spot for nature lovers looking for a peaceful retreat in the heart of the city. And the best part about the Botanical Gardens, it's absolutely free. Researchers say it's good for your overall well-being. It lowers your blood pressure, muscle tension. It's good for your mental health. It is the best place to come if you want to connect with nature. The Power Plant Contemporary Art Gallery is located on the waterfront right by the Harbourfront Centre. And the best part, this place is free year-round. Very cool. It's a big space with big ideas, and there's literally something for everybody here. It often features artists from right here at home and around the world. Once a gritty quarry and brick factory, Evergreen Brickworks is now a cool, vibey spot right in the Don Valley. Think trails, wetlands, old school meets new school, local shops, local food. It's giving energy, it's giving nature, it's giving history. The Art Gallery of Ontario, aka the AGO, is next level. If you're from Ontario and under 25, general admission is free, and on the first Wednesday of every month from 6 to 9, it's also free. Free is my favorite price. It's one of the best spots in the city. Don't sleep on it.
Do you think we sat still for these and they carved around?
Free is my favorite price. Whether it's the AGO, Allen Gardens, Evergreen Brickworks, or the Power Plant, get out there and explore. There is so much you can do that won't cost you a thing. For more information, you can visit our website.
Some teenagers in Calgary have decided to ditch their smartphones in favor of old flip phones.
As CTV's Kathy Lee tells us, it's a change that's led to new insights about the brain.
Scroll, tap, repeat. For many people, doom scrolling on their smartphone has become second nature. That's how it was for Jarrett Gross.
I always felt like I wasted a lot of time, and it was also hard to stop.
Last November, the 17-year-old decided to make some changes, so he ditched his smartphone for a flip phone where he could not access social media apps and started noticing improvements in his overall well-being.
It was pretty good. I like it way better. I think life is better on a flip phone.
He wanted to know if those changes could be measured, so he asked some of his closest friends to take part in a case study. They switched to flip phones for a couple months while a psychologist conducted before and after brain scans. Dr. Blake Osmos led the experiment, which included a questionnaire.
In the measures for depression and stress levels, as well as anxiety, they dropped like immediately.
And for the brain scans,
what we saw is a decrease of those alpha brain waves in the frontal lobe, which can be correlated with brain fog.
Most of Gross's friends eventually returned to their smartphones, but he is still committed to his flip phone. The teen joins a growing trend of people seeking them out.
This is Nokia phone.
Jerry Ede runs an e-commerce business selling refurbished cell phones and says more and more people want the old school version.
5 years prior, it used to be just seniors that are buying flip phones. But right now we are seeing even the younger generation.
Ede adds that parents are also looking for flip phones for their kids.
And asks, why are you buying a flip phone for your kid? Because I don't want them to use social media.
Gross says he is more present now that he doesn't have easy access to social media on his cell phone, and he hopes his experience encourages others.
I can message people, call people.
To rethink their own screen time. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Still to come, Royal LePage is raising its national housing price forecast for this year as demand continues to outpace supply in some regions. We'll have more on the numbers when we return.
Royal LePage is raising its national housing price forecast for this year as demand continues to outpace supply in some regions. The company expects the aggregate price of a home to increase by 2% in the fourth quarter to $823,300. Quebec City is expected to see the largest year-over-year price growth at 8%, while prices in Toronto are expected to fall 2% compared to last year.
Also on the housing front, detached home sales are rising across Canada's largest markets this year, including here in the GTA. That's according to a new report from Remax. It says communities in Toronto's 416 area code posted solid growth, with 60% reporting an increase in detached home buying activity. Overall, the report says detached inventory levels are dwindling, which could place upward pressure on home prices going forward.
We're seeing a lot of movement in areas like Willowdale and Newton Brook. So this report specifically looked at detached home sales. Okay. And when looking at the beginning of the year, so January through June compared to last year, those areas, there's about 60% of the areas that we've looked at have shown an increase in sales compared to last year. So it's pretty positive, very exciting to look at. But specifically North Toronto and then lots of areas north of the city like Aurora, Richmond Hill, they're all showing double-digit increases in detached home sales.
Remax says only 6% of all markets reported an upswing in values, with 4 out of the top 5 located in the GTA.
You're watching CTV News at noon. Another look at the forecast coming up. Stay with us.
It is so hot and steamy. It's like an oven out there, enough to warrant a warning, and we're getting hotter, right?
Yeah, so the temperature expected to continue to rise from here, although we've been in the 30s since this morning. And now, as we take a look at our current temperature, you are going to find that once again, we are in the low to mid 30s in places. It is feeling into the 40s, and that's the theme of the day today. So here's a look at the heat warning that is in effect. Let me see if I can show you the current temperatures. Here they are, 30 33 degrees, feeling more like 43 at this hour at Pearson. And all eyes are on Pearson Airport today because we could break a couple of temperature records, the one being the daily record for July 14th, which is 36.8 degrees. So we're on our way to that. The all-time record is 38.3. And believe it or not, we could come close to that today as well. Overnight tonight, boy, oh boy, this is very warm for a low. You'll recall that our average daytime temperature is 27 degrees, and we're forecasting a low of 26 for the nighttime hours tonight. So not pleasant. Suddenly, this looks cool. It's not. Don't let that phrase fool you. 32 degrees tomorrow, feeling like 34, so still hot. Bit of an increase in cloud cover. We're actually going to watch for a few quick passing showers in parts of the province too. Maybe unlikely here in Toronto, but there is a slight chance. There's the next 3 days, and your 7-day forecast does show more comfortable conditions for this weekend, but we're also going to watch for the chance of a few showers as well. Stay cool out there, everyone. Nathan and Michelle.
All right, good advice. Thank you, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.